everybody, it's me, Laura, and I'm back today with another polymer clay and diamond art piece, or I should say set of jewelry. Right here I'm using my dark blue, kind of a medium blue, and then a white, and I'm going to create a nice blend with these colors. Now, I need to let you know right away, I tried out the $5 store, their polymer clay set. That's what this was taken from, with the exception of the white, where the white I had to add in a little bit of another clay, which you can do easily. But I eventually got these colors using that $5 store diamond, or I should, polymer clay. And eventually I did get a really nice blend from it. As you can see right here, it just turned out really good. Now, mind you, when I did my blend, I did not have a pure graduated blend on that medium blue into the white, where it would probably be a little bit more of a blue hue. So if you want to graduate it even more, you can do so. Anyway, from there, I then came in and I fan folded that clay. And once I got that fan folded, I brought in some white clay, which I had rolled out on my number 4 setting on my Atlas pasta machine. And I laid this particular simple Skinner blend, fan folded cane down onto that. We're going to roll this thing up. And eventually then, once I get this rolled up, I'll bring in some black clay and I'll just create a little tiny small snake. And I'll use that to create my registration mark on this particular cane. Once I have that registration mark down, I'll come in with my acrylic roller, and mind you, once I get the registration mark down, I try to roll it just slightly to make sure that that registration line is put in there pretty good. But once I have this and I'm pulling a little bit at the same time, I'll bring in my acrylic roller and I'll roll this somewhat flat. And then once I get that flat, I like to pull it a little bit, just kind of lengthen it out as much as possible. And then I will cut this particular piece in half. Once I get that cut in half, then I'll go ahead, place the two pieces together, and then I'll get them to the same length, if at all possible, because once in a while one might be a little bit longer than the other, but put them together, get them to the same length, and then once I have that, I'll cut these two pieces in half yet again. I also like to cut off my ends. For me, it's just kind of, I don't like to have the little garbage. I'll put the garbage area off to the side somewhere, right? But I'll cut these into 4 pieces all together, and then I'll place them back together. And then once I get them placed back together, and it will be where I have the dark blue, 2 pieces with the dark blue on the one side, and then the other 2 on the outside going the opposite direction. Once I have that all together, I'll then roll it out slightly, and I'll get this down to where eventually the overall cane will be about a 1/2 inch in diameter. Once I have that 1/2 inch, I'll then come in, place the cane down on its side with the black registration mark facing me, and then pinch it into a point following my registration line. Once I have that done, I'll start cutting slices and start to create the petals I need from this cane. All right, so now I'm going to start creating my pendant piece, and I'm rolling out these little balls of blue clay. And to give it just a little bit of punch, I decided to add in some glitter, or I should say glitter clay, to my blue, and it worked out really good. Anyway, once I get these balls formed, you could tell there that the ball was like 3/8 of an inch in diameter, and then it was like 1 centimeter in metric. And then once I do that, I flatten out each ball. I use my needle tool to go ahead and drag my 2 lines down the center, and I do it on all 3 pieces. When I have all of those completed, I then start placing them around and on top of the little caned pieces. Okay, so now that I have my pansy together, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to lightly bring it up from my tile. I like to make sure there's a little bit of give there. And then I'm going to bring in some of my purple clay, and this thing is about 1/4 of an inch in diameter, along with about, a little over 1/2 of a centimeter in diameter. So anyway, I'm bringing in my ball tool. I'm going to create that nice little indent in the center. I'll bring in some white clay, throw a little ball in there, and then I'm going to bring in a little bit more of that purple clay, and I'll make a few little tiny balls. Itty bitty teeny weeny. Some tinier balls, put those or place them onto the pansy. Make sure I do a little indent with my ball tool, and this will be little highlights that we can add some little pointed back rhinestones in eventually. But like I said, putting in a couple of those little indented balls right there. Once I have that in place, I'll then go ahead and bring in some leftover jewelry that I've had off to the side. I get these pieces every once in a while from the craft stores or whatever, and I had like 3 of them left over, which was perfect. And we'll take each one and we'll push them each into the pansy piece that I've got going on. Now, mind you, the earrings are not going to look exactly like a pansy piece. I know my pendant does, pretty much more so, right? And then once I have that in, I bake this entire thing. I'll use a little bit of super glue to make sure that that metal piece is stuck in there really good. And then I bring in a little bit of my black clay. This is fresh clay, it hasn't been baked. And I place that on the back because I'm not going to put clay all the way up and around on the metal piece. I'm just going to shave off a little bit, and then I'll bring in a little bit of my liquid polymer clay, place some of that on the back of that black that has been freshly put in, along with just a couple of dabs of super glue, and then we'll place this down on another piece of flattened black clay that has been rolled out on my number 4 setting, or you could go number 3, whichever you prefer, and then place that down on there, and then use your needle tool to go ahead and trace it out, and then bake this entire thing again at 275 degrees for about 7 to 10 minutes. The first time around, that's what I did with my polymer clay. I went ahead and baked it at about 7 to 10 minutes, but check where you live because you might have to have a longer baking time than what I have here. All right, so now we're going to start creating our earrings. And so I cut up 4 slices off of that cane one more time. I create 2 petals and then I set them side by side. And when I do that, I need to have it so they're as evenly, how do I put this? That they're right at the same level as together. So like the point of each petal needs to be in the almost exact same position. Sometimes I'll use my my blade to go ahead and when I bring them together, figure out exactly where that is by just placing it up against one point and hoping the other petal is right on that same line since it's a straight blade and it should just measure straight across. So anyway, I have the 2 pieces here. I've brought in that glitter clay one more time. I'll make the little petals, place them down on each of these pieces that I have from the canes, and then create a similar to kind of pansy look. Mind you, it won't look exactly like the original pendant, but that's okay because I really, as I've told you guys before on many of my other pieces that I've done, if I have a pendant and I got earrings, I don't want them to look exactly the same. You want to be able to change it up a little bit, add some panache, you know, because this way then it gives interest to the pieces themselves. So anyways, from here, guys, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let you watch my hands talk as I put together the earring set to our pansy pendant. Okay, so the earrings have been thoroughly baked through and through. And once I get those done, I decide I'm going to add in a little bit of painted detail to it. So I brought in my black matte acrylic paint and my white and decided just to put a little bit of black into it. And then I made just some tiny little dots down onto the petals themselves. And then I did so also with the pendant piece. All right, now on to the fun part. Yes, sirree. So I'm bringing in my diamond drills here, and these are actually cream. They look a little yellow here, but they're kind of cream colored in nature. And then I'm also going to bring in some light lavender or purple eventually. And I'm just going to start taking each of these drills along with a little bit of my super glue gel. Don't use the liquid. I don't know why, but for some reason the liquid just does not work the same. It works great for creases and stuff, but when you're dealing with trying to put down these little drills onto your pendant piece or even onto the earrings, you want to make sure you use a little bit of gel because it globs up slightly, but it will hold a lot better in the regard that it's staying in one place and it's not so thin that it'll just flow everywhere. So I'm using a little bit of that gel. I place down a small little line and then I start to bring in my little waxy tipped tool here and place the little diamond drills down onto the pendant piece here itself. Once I got the pendant, or once I get the pendant piece done with the diamond drills, I'll then go and look at my earrings and I'll do the same or do something very similar to the pendant piece, but not exactly, and have those diamond drills put into it as well. Anyway, from here, once again, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to let you guys watch my hands talk as I put the little diamond drills down onto our pansy pieces. So at this point, I've gotten most everything into the piece itself, and I'm going to bring in a jump ring and just place that into the top of my little jewelry piece. That's a nice thing about this jewelry. Sometimes it just makes it real easy for you to put in that jump ring so you could have your necklace all set. But when I was doing this, I thought, okay, we need to protect the acrylic paint that I've put down. So I come back in with some water-based varnish, and I'll just go right over those petals at the bottom where I have my detail, and the same with the center. Now, if you wish to varnish the whole thing, you can definitely do so. I just wanted to go over the particular petals that needed to have that protection, and that's what I did. So I didn't exactly varnish the entire thing. I thought the cane work is fine. Cane work is great, and I also didn't varnish over my gemstones either. I thought, yeah, we're not going to varnish over the little the little drills. No, we're not going to do that. Bad idea. Just let them shine the way they go, you're right? But I did go over the little acrylic areas where I could. So from here, one more time, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I finish up our Pansy jewelry set. All right, so this is the end result of creating my pansy and diamond art jewelry set. Please use this for study and reference. And if you like this video, bop the like button and subscribe, as well as leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.